Assalamu Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. So it's that time of week again, our usual Friday night live. I know we had a week off last week, but yeah, if you saw my video last Sunday, you would have known exactly why I wasn't here. We had quite a big family tragedy. My mother-in-law passed away, which has affected us all quite a bit. It's affected us all quite badly. But what I wanted to come on and say really was a massive thank you to everyone. So everyone who's shown me a lot of love and a lot of support. And I'm going to just put the phone on mute because that's streaming live on TikTok as well. So if you don't know that we stream both on YouTube and on TikTok at the same time. So yeah, what I was saying was reading some of those comments and reading some of the messages that people had left me, absolutely blown away by it. I haven't responded to everyone. It was quite emotional to try and get back in touch with everyone and tell them, look, this is yeah, thanks for sharing. But I just wanted to come on here tonight and make sure that everyone knows who left me a positive message and a message of support that I really appreciate it, and I'm really grateful for those kind words. So let's see who's joined us on. So we've got Monica, who's joined us over on YouTube. So sorry to hear about you lost my thoughts. Oh, thank you very much. And it's going to be a tough time. I think it's going to be a while before it settles, and it's sunk in now. We're still processing it as a family. Everyone's trying to deal with it in their own way. My son was getting a little bit worried. He was asking what they're going to do and where they're going to live if I die. And yeah, it just does make you think that you're next in line now. But so we've got a few people joining us on TikTok. We've got, who is that? We've got Lynch joining us. Good evening. How are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. Hope everything's good with you. So, how is everyone doing? How is everyone keeping? Mabs, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. So, opinions on Baba Jaga. They've imposed strict security outside the shop. I don't know. I didn't know that they'd done that. Lynch, we're doing all right. I'm on a break watching you from restaurant. Are you working? Are you working tonight? Alan, how are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. Hope you're all good. Yeah, I had to take a break last week, but we're back. Yeah, we're back this week. What's been going on with everyone? What's good with everyone? How is everyone keeping? What are you all up to? Fill me in. Fill me in on what's going on in your gardens, because we just did. If anyone's just seen my video on TikTok or on the Facebook group, we just did a quick little bit of lungi gardening, and we just went out and harvested a load of potatoes. So the kids want a shepherd's pie, so just definitely quickly gone and harvested a big quick bucket. You should definitely try for the elections next year. I'm in two minds. The thing is, right, there was a lot of the work I had to do on my own, and just getting bodies out on the street, delivering leaflets. I just didn't have the support, and we just couldn't get to enough people, and I felt really ill afterwards. I was ill for a couple of months, and I still haven't recovered financially for it because I had to take 2 months off work, and it's hard to do that sort of thing every year. When am I coming to Birmingham? I'm actually in Walsall. The plan is to be there in the half-term holidays, so I'll be down actually. Private, do not follow. Amazing videos. Thank you very much. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. I'm all right. I'm all right. So we've got, I can't read that. Gmail, Gmail. I don't know. Sorry, I can't read that. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much for your condolences. Derek, how are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Um, so, well, that's too bad. The thing is, I wish, I'd give it a go again. But if I had a few people who would be willing to come out and give me a lot of support, but it's a big commitment from everyone. Mabs in Warsaw, Pankawala restaurant, inshallah. Yeah, I'll be coming down sometime in that holiday. Um, we'll be coming down and staying over for a night. Or Gmailers. Oh, I get it now. I get it. Inshallah, inshallah. We'll come and have a look around. Mabs, what are you growing? Are you growing anything? We'll do a little TikTok around what you're growing. So we spent most of the week moving sheep and lambs and putting the rams to the ewes, but managed to lift some potatoes today. Fairly good harvest, mostly looking forward to eating the red and blue ones. Which blue potatoes did you grow? Which variety? Um, have you ever considered working with them? I have. I mean, I've tried to get get. I tried to get Shah Jalal on board with a few things, but because I stood for a different political party, a lot of them just shied away. I tried getting Bilal Masjid involved as well, and they want to stay politically neutral, and the same thing for them. But we'll see. We'll see. Inshallah, you take me to your allotment. Which allotments are you at? Because my uncle's got a really good allotment. Where are they based? I'm just trying to think which allotments we were at. Because we did a really good photo shoot for the Guardian a few years ago. Was it last year? I think it was last year. We did a really, really good photo shoot for the Guardian. So blue Congo, deep purple, and Heidi red. Has anyone else tried them? See, I tried some purple potatoes a few years ago, right? And no one in the house had eaten because they looked weird. Everyone just thought that they look too weird. And the thing is, even after you peel them, or even after you scrape the peeling off, it leached that blue color into the water and into the food that you're cooking. So it made the food a bit of a weird color as well. So it was it's different. Yeah, it was quite weird. So inshallah, I'm thinking of getting my getting your in your getting what in your sorry. Oh, yours in Great Bar. Okay, I get you. So Tony, how are you doing, mate? Thanks very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Rob, hope everything is good with you. You can't beat blue mashed potato and Union Jack chips. It's disappointing because Labour has done nothing but a majority of the place. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's breaking that cycle that's really, really difficult. It's trying to break into that cycle and change something. Get rid of you. Bye bye, John. You've been blocked. So Ali, how are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. Rob, Yeah, she's putting a brave face on. That's the thing. She just put, she's putting a brave face on just so the kids are not seeing her in that state. But she's struggling. She is struggling, and you can't, as much as you expect it, you can't deal. It's always a blow when it comes. Kratos Solos wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. I was speaking to Reba about this during the manifesto days, and I really hope you guys do well. I hope so. I hope someone makes it through. I think Umar's got a good chance in Beeston. Um, I think he's got a good chance in Beeston, and maybe he can get in. Drop me a message. So my messages are open, so you can send me a message if you want, and we can talk. My emails are in my profile as well. So if you ever need to email me, it's quite easy to contact me. Facebook's there. Everything's open. Tom, how are you from Devon? Hope you're keeping well. I'm glad you made it in. I know, even if it's your first time. Yeah, it's nice to come in and have a bit of a chit chat live, and yeah, just up with things really. Yeah, it does, Rob. You're right. It does take time, and it's going to take a while yet. Ned, how are you doing? My very late son, Indian mustard and wasabi rock is growing well in an open raised bed. It's really warm at the moment. You're right. I mean, tomorrow's supposed to be even warmer. So Mabs, I'll see you again soon, inshallah. Yeah, tomorrow's supposed to be even warmer than today. So my pumpkins and my pumpkins are still, really vibrant, really doing well. So I've left them on the vine. Even, I'm tempted to pull them in because I've got probably about 5 or 6 crown prints out there at the moment. We did the majority of our harvest last weekend of our squash, but a lot of our pumpkins are still out there, and I'm thinking, do I leave them for another weekend, just see how it goes? But I don't know. So Mika Masood, wa alaikum assalam. Always a pleasure to see you in the videos. Hope you're well. Thanks very much for your support. I really appreciate it. Jazakallah khair. So just think about time is a healer. I mean, time is a healer, and it is going to take time. You're absolutely right. Due to health, I will continue to watch vlogs, etc., and be able to grow something at home. Oh, Alan, I'm really sorry to hear about your health, and I wish you were a bit closer, and then I'd muck in actually. Is there anyone that can share your allotment with you, or is that just not an option? Because if you can find someone who's like a young kid who you could probably train up and pass on a lot of knowledge to, that'd be amazing. But so what have we got? All squashers fell prey to June drought here. How June? Yeah, June was terrible, wasn't it? I mean, for the water, it was terrible. The weather was absolutely fantastic, but then July just completely soaked it. What's your soil like? What type of soil are you on? So, do I grow turmeric, ginger, and lemongrass? I grow turmeric and ginger, but not lemongrass. D Spice, thanks very much for that. It's not an option. Okay. If it's not an option, you've got to put your health. You've got to put your health first, and your family first. Yeah. So another one asking, am I going to run for election again? I mean, I covered that just a little bit ago. I'm in two minds at the minute because it's too much work just on me on my own. ATM, yeah, I'm live normally every Friday at 8 o'clock. So if you ever want to pop in for a chat, you're more than welcome to. And yeah, thanks for coming in. I've lots of spoiled hay bales. I want to use them to cover the beds over winter in thick mulch, but wondering if there are problems with doing this. How thick is too thick? With hay, the only major problem you're going to have is weed seeds. And as long as it's organic hay, you're not going to have any issues with sort of any long-lived pesticides. But hay is absolutely fine to mulch your beds with, and I'd put in a really good thick layer. Do you know how those hay bales and straw bales, when you take, if you put them up vertically and you pull them off, you can get normally like a 4-inch thick matted block. If you've got enough, I'd just use those like blocks. So just use them and cover it with that. If you haven't got enough to do that with, then I'd fluff them up and obviously spread them out a lot more. But I'd go for that. You know, when it comes off, when it lifts off, it almost lifts off in, doesn't it? Like about a 3-4 inch sort of thick mat. I'd just use them and just lay them side by side and let that break down. And by springtime, all you do is just the bottom layers will have broken down, and then all you do is just make a hole through the top layer and plant whatever you're going to plant. Don't disturb the mulch, just leave it as it is. It'll be absolutely awesome. And especially if it has got a lot of weed seeds in it, if you start messing with it and disturbing it, you're just going to give those weed seeds a perfect habitat to start growing in. So Alan,
I don't believe in homework.
There we go. We got a random one there. He's been told to do his homework, and that's the response I get. I'll sort him out. There's a small garden at home, so can grow some things. Have you got a soil, or are you going to be growing on in containers? Go for 4 weeks in June and then 6 weeks this time of year. I didn't water too much to do. Need to grow squashes on a mound of muck to get sun and moisture. Do you know, growing them on a mound of muck is good, but as well, if you can sort of grow them where the roots are going to be in a ditch, so water funnels in. When they spread their vines and when they grow outwards, obviously the vine's going to be climbing over the ditch anyway, but every time it rains, water's going to funnel into that ditch and it's going to feed that plant. And the other thing to do, or what we always do, is make sure we clear some of the older leaves from around the main plant where the root's planted, so that allows water to come down. Close that door. Close that door to you. So that allows water to come down. Mark Rullings, great chat room. Shame more people don't know about what you're doing this weekend on the plot. It is a shame. I mean, we've got a really good bunch of regulars that always pop in, and then we get a few new people coming in and out, and not everyone can make it. I know some of the bigger channels, they get a lot more. They're getting hundreds in their live stream. I get a handful, but I'm getting quality more than quantity. And the thing is, I'm getting people who come in every week, who come in to support me, and these people are the ones who are really pushing me forward. They give me a lot of encouragement, they give me a lot of support and a lot of love, and I'm really grateful for it. So I might not have the thousands of views and the thousands of people, hundreds of people in a chat room, but I get some quality, man. Yeah, I'm happy with the people I've got. So Rob, I'll tell you what, that gave me a bit of a scare as well, man. So more thinking about fruit trees. I have one pear and never fruited. One apple gave one fruit and had plot 3 years. Do you know, Richard, how old are the trees before? before anything else, how old are the trees? Um, Ned, don't be encouraging him, man. I need to get him to do some work. He's but he's he needs what am I going to say? A hand on his shoulder to make sure he gets his work done. So we've got TikTok absolutely frozen. What's going on over here? How much are you permaculture based, Rob? The thing, I I'd say I'm 100% permaculture based. I think I'll get back to that. Hang on. How do I say this without upsetting anyone? I think permaculture is based 100% on us. I take a lot of inspiration from the way my family or the way my grandparents garden in Bangladesh and grew food over there. So if you ever get a chance, go back and have a look at some of the tours I did in Bangladesh and some of the around my village, and how it's set in the middle of what we'd now call a food forest. But that food forest there, a couple hundred years old. Jackfruit trees, mango trees, massive citrus trees, lychees, all of these kind of things. And right in the middle of that is a little house, little bungalow, or 4 little houses, and these are our ancestral homes. So what we've tried to do is replicate that over here. I mean, we're not going to get jackfruit and mangoes growing here, but I've got apples and pears and plums and cherries to replicate that forest kind of effect. And then in the middle of that clearing, that's where I've got my garden. And that's majority annual based. And the sort of divergence I take from a lot of permaculture courses is I want to preserve the culture that I bring, and I want to preserve the food and the diet that we eat. So we need a food growing system that makes food that people want to eat. Yeah, I've got loads of dandelions growing in the garden, but I don't want to eat dandelions. So that's where I'd sort of have a little bit of conflict with some of the permaculture teachers. I teach on the Leeds permaculture course as well. Have you completed Alim? Yes, I have. Margaret, how are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in from Northumberland. Windy and rainy. It was rainy during the day, but it's yeah, it's been raining during the day, but in the evening it's been really windy as well. So you're studying Alim at JKN. I graduated from JKN. I completed my IFTA at JKN about 5 years ago. To get out of homework, just tell the teacher you lost your rucksack. Don't do. See, nowadays everything's on app based and email based. So even if you lose your rucksack or your dog eats your book, everything's on the computer. So you're not gonna you're not gonna get out of it that way. So you're 100% practical, mate. Usually this time, Friday evening, I just crash out. We're here pretty much every Friday. I normally take the last Friday of the month off. But yeah, we're normally here every Friday. I'm okay. Just stick with the rain. I'm with you on that. The garden's really muddy. So my mum wanted me to go and fix the chicken run door because it's not closing properly. What the chickens have done is they've scratched up everything and they made a really muddy, massive pile behind the door and behind the hinges. So when it doesn't quite close, so the top bit closes and the bottom bit doesn't close. So now, what we've had to do is go in and clear out a load of that mess and push back some of the wood. I was doing that in the heavy rain, and then after I finished that, I looked over and then I noticed that the pond, waterfall on the pond wasn't pumping. And the pond's been a bit neglected this year. So I had a look, and we've got irises in the pond, and you could hardly see any water. The irises had just taken over. So in the pouring rain, hacking at that with a knife and shears, just hacking away at the roots and trying to preserve as much rock and logwood that's in there. So I was doing that in the pouring rain. And now I wheeled off and took a wheelbarrow load of prunings from this iris that's sat on my compost pile now. Sonia, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi alima, mashallah. I just wanted to ask if I'm being so nice, but they're treated so bad by every relationship. In what regard? That's concerning, but in what regard? Just so I get a bit of context around that question. So I used to travel a lot and love seeing how the cultures did it. Rob, did you ever see the videos I did around my village? Let's see. Oja, yeah, I'm sure they do, but I'm not someone who eats dandelions. If they've got medicinal qualities, that's fine. You can use them as a medicine, but I don't. I'm not going to be eating them in a salad, or I'm not going to cook a prawn sag with them. They're too bitter. They're not. Yeah, they don't appeal to me. Just wanted to ask my husband, brothers, sisters, auntie, uncle. My parents passed away. I have no one here. Your parents passed. Oh. See, it's really difficult when you're isolated like that. It's really difficult when you're isolated like that. Have you got anyone close to you that or any of your stars that you can talk to? Because you need some support network. You really do. Where did you graduate from? Can you get in contact with some of your people there? Me, Susu, I really enjoy this YouTube. I'm happy you enjoy it. Because the thing is, I love coming on here and having a chat, and it sometimes I know I go off on a tangent away from gardening, and I go off into politics, and I go off into other things, but it just gives me a chance to get things off my chest a little bit. And for a lot of the time, men struggle with that sort of thing, but that's what they started off as, just a bit of a chat. I don't come on here with a particular structure, as you can probably tell, but I just go with your feedback. I've got all my seeds for next year already gone, all open pollinated for saving, no F1s. See, Ned, I'm ordering, I've got half my seed order ready. My onions came last week, so I need to get those planted this weekend. I've gone for True Gold. I think you suggested it last weekend or the weekend before for sweet corn. So I've gone for True Gold. I've got that. And that's going to be one that I'm going to be going for. I have got some F1s in there, but yeah, there's quite a few more seeds that I'm still trying to decide on what I'm going to order. So there's sympathize for the time being, but not all. I'm scared even to go out. How people are. It sounds like you're in a really controlled sort of environment, I think you really need. I think you really need that support network. Where are you based? And because there's got to be some groups out there who can support you. Where are you based? Bedford. I mean, there's got to be lots of women's groups in Bedford. I know. I mean, there's got to be lots of women's groups there, women's support networks, where you can just drop in and have a chat with people. There's got to be a lot of alimas out there as well who you can talk to. There must be. We're behind places like that, and we've got a few of those sorts of things. So Baldy Alpha, I saw your comment earlier. I think it was yesterday on one of my chili videos. So yeah, I'm glad you made it in. I'm in a similar situation, in my opinion. If you're going to grow in the ground and the earth, but not something solid, I'm doing hydroponic. What comment did I miss before? Did I miss a comment before? So greenhouse, solid interior base or soil base, as you probably gathered, just turned to gardening this year from sunny South Wales, even though it's dark. So Mark, the way I don't understand why people put solid bases into their greenhouses when there's perfectly good ground to be growing in. The ideal way I would have set my greenhouse up would have been, like a wall about 1.5 foot, maybe 2 foot high. So a brick wall, maybe 1.5 foot, 2 foot high, and then the greenhouse sort of supported onto that wall. And then that'll give you additional height. Most glass greenhouses or most of those ready-made greenhouses are quite low. So if you can get yourself another couple of feet, you've got loads of growing space now and loads of things that you can just grow up. When I built my red greenhouse, if you've seen that one, I think it's the walls at the bottom are about 6 foot and the walls at the top are about 5 foot. There's about a foot drop between the front and the back. And both greenhouses we grow in the ground. There were slabs in a glass greenhouse. I've taken those out because I think growing in the ground is really important. I keep my pots in there until it gets warm, and then I pull my pots out, and then I plant directly into the ground. Yeah. So that's the sort of way I go. I think growing in the ground is a really good way of using the resources that you've already got, and it saves you from potential saves you from drought issues. So if you miss a weekend of watering, or you can't, or you have to go away for a week, they're a lot more resilient, the plants that are in the ground, than the ones that are in the pot. So I hope I got back on that comment. Allah give you strength and keep you protected. I think you need that network. I think you really need that network. What work do I do? I'm an accountant by profession, and teach in the evenings, and obviously garden. Yeah, Bobby, how are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. So let's see what's going on. So I hope I don't offend you. I don't get offended easily. Yeah, I don't get offended easily, not at all. So interesting, just about to buy, and that's an option. So Mark, if you're gonna buy a new greenhouse, are you good at DIY? Because if you're good at DIY, then get onto Facebook Marketplace or get onto eBay. Or Gumtree. There's loads of people giving away old greenhouses. If you're willing to go dismantle it and bring it back, you can pick up a greenhouse for next to nothing. The thing I've been doing for the last few weeks is I've been going around collecting bricks, because when we had our windows done last year or the year before, I kept all the glass units. So my plan is to build a greenhouse like the one I've been describing, with brick walls, so about 2 foot. Half of it's going to be on a solid concrete base because that's the place I've got, but that's going to be my chill out area. Might stick a weight bench in there and a sofa or something, and then the rest of it is going to be on soil, where my old chicken hut used to be. So if you know where my old chicken hut was, and if you ever see the shape of my garden, that's going to be where I'm going to build this new greenhouse eventually. I just need to collect another couple of hundred bricks, I think. But yeah, I'm collecting recycled bricks, so people are having extensions done and they're knocking out their existing walls. I'm going and fetching all the bricks back. So I've got a pile of them in the middle of my garden at the minute, right on top of the lawn. And once more, when my wife's going back out into the garden, I'm going to be getting shouted at to get that cleaned up. But I need to get some. I need to get some slabs. I'm looking for some slabs at the moment. So Darren, how are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. I'm glad you're enjoying it. We're normally here every Friday. So if you ever fancy popping in again, you're more than welcome to. Here's a question: greenhouse or polytunnel? I mean, they both have their advantages and disadvantages. So I've got two greenhouses, and I've got two greenhouses one made out of glass and one made out of twin wall polycarbonate. Now, I had the twin wall polycarbonate one first, and the reason I went for twin wall polycarbonate was it's expensive. That's not the reason I went for it, but it's the one that's easier to cut and manage. And I'm good with wood. I can build a wooden frame, knock one up with just the blueprints in my head. So once I've got the frame up, getting the polycarbonate sheets to fit and cut them to size was absolutely a doddle. But if I was going to use glass or something like that, I've never used glass before, so my experience with that is very limited. There's that other stuff you can get, that corrugated plastic, but that's really difficult to cut and it cracks. The twin wall polycarbonate lets in about 80% light. Pure glass, the stuff on the glass greenhouses, that lets in about 95% of light. I do notice a difference. Things do tend to grow better in my glass greenhouse than in my polycarbonate greenhouse. If you ever see some of the chilies that I harvested last year, the best harvests I got were in my glass greenhouse compared to my polycarbonate greenhouse. They do let in a lot more light. They do hold the heat a little bit better, but in the daytime. But in the nighttime, the twin wall's better because it's just got that little bit of insulation in between. The other thing, now you compare that to a polytunnel. Polytunnel, you're just going to get much more value for money. So my red greenhouse, the wooden one, that cost me about £500 in total, and the bulk of that, about £450 or something, was on the polycarbonate. And for £500, you're going to get a massive, humongous polytunnel. You'll get one bit probably triple the size of my red greenhouse, and they don't let in as much light, they don't stay as warm, but you get a lot more coverage. You'll probably extend your season both ways by about a couple of weeks, and especially if you stick in a few hotbeds in there, you can extend it even further. The biggest drawback for me around polytunnels is the off-gassing from soft plastic. So soft plastic, if you don't know, releases a lot of microplastics by the way of phthalates. and that has an impact on men's and women's hormones. So that's the biggest drawback for me around polytunnels. Do you recommend a log burner? It's a lot. If you can manage the work, there's a lot of work involved. You're never going to be the same again once you get a log burner. Every skip you go past, you're going to be wanting to grab the wood out of. As long as you can manage the work and you can manage a little bit of mess, then yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, I'd recommend one. So Barry Morgan, I inherited 2 greenhouses on my plot. Both had shelving in them. Took all the shelving out of one and grew into soil there. See, that's one of the things that I've done in my glass greenhouse. It's got shelving on one side and it's got slabs underneath that. And then on the other side, I've taken all the slabs out and I grow into the ground and I grow some really good chili plants in there. Yeah. Manny B, how are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. We're doing okay. I'm not going to say we're great, but we're managing, I think. See, do you know what? Do you know I'm reading the messages there, right? And I feel sorry for you. Do you know? I didn't have a dog. I've never had a dog, but I had a cat. And one day my cat just went missing just shortly after we moved to this house. And then she rocked up again about a year later, but she was in an absolutely horrible state. Bloody, damaged. It looked like she'd been through a war or something. She came into the house. She stayed the night, and in the morning she disappeared again. And I think that was just her coming back to say, bye before she goes. So yeah, I get you. It's hard, even though they're animals. They still mean something. I find polycarbonate gives out a lot of condensation. It does. But I think the same. I don't know. The glass might actually give out more. I don't know. The glass might actually give out more. I don't know. I'm just thinking. Darren C, 110% glass is better, but more expensive. How are my aluminium framed small glass house is now 30 years old and still going through a few storms? Yeah, it's good. And you can pick them up. I saw a 12 foot glass greenhouse for about 50 quid on Facebook a couple of days ago. I'm still messing about with the idea of building this one from my old double glazed units. Otherwise, I'd have fancied that. The only thing that's stopping me is I'd have to go and spend a full day dismantling the greenhouse when I get there, and that's the thing that stops me from going out and getting these things. Otherwise, I'd have non-stop greenhouses up and down my garden. So we're not allowed glass on our allotment plot, and the wife won't allow me one at home. Rob, if this is going to be more of an expensive idea, conservatory. I was thinking of building like a porch on our front door, just somewhere where we can store all our shoes and all that sort of thing, and just I'll use it for the excuse of shoes, but obviously it's going to be a little greenhouse for me overwintering stuff. That's the idea that I'm playing with, and I'm thinking I could build that myself. So anyone tried growing kiwi fruit? Not sure of best growing conditions. Tom, there are some varieties of kiwis, not the big ones, not the big, really big ones, but there's some smaller kiwis that you can get that will grow on fruit here. They're obviously not going to be as you're not going to get as much fruit because the other ones are bigger, but you're going to make up for what you're not going to make up for in size. You're going to make up for in volume. They're a lot more productive, so you'll get a lot more little fruits. Let me think of the variety. There is a variety that will grow here, and I think you said you're in Devon. I think you'll be all right. Let's see. OJ saying I'm a devil for collecting pallet wood, good for fuel, but also rustic woodworking. Waste not on. See, I'm like that. I collect pallets. I collect pallets all the time. I've got I've got 6 big log stores, and they're all made out of full pallets. And I've got 2 little log stores outside my front door, and they're made out of pallets as well. Um, um, but there's yeah, I used to make planters out of pallets. The sad thing is they don't last too long. I mean, a couple of seasons and they rot. But it was good. When I didn't have those plastic containers, they were really good. Um, but yeah, I like making little things out of pallet wood, birdhouses and stuff like that. So yeah, I absolutely snap on that one with you. Um, uh, um, So I have a variety. Jenny self-fertile, but seem to find polytunnel too hot. Um, so I think Ned, try kiwis, man. First time I tried a kiwi, I didn't know what it was. And my big brother, he's a lot older than me, but my big brother brought a kiwi home, and yeah, I still remember him. You know, he cut the top off, and then he was spooning it out and feeding me, and I was like, yes, I love this. Um, but yeah. Um, it, I don't like avocados. I think they taste like mud. Um, yeah, I think avocados taste like mud. Yeah, they're a bit nasty. Um, so I've got my butternut squash is about as far as one squash. However, it's only about the size of a handspan, so about that big. Yeah, that sort of size. One of the things that I'd do with that is create a little microclimate around it. So if you've got a cloche or something, then get a cloche over it. If you haven't got a cloche, make a little mini polytunnel up for it. So just get a few sticks, a clear plastic bag, and stick that over it. That'll give it a little bit of protection. If not, stick the whole end of that plant into a plastic bag. So if you can get down to a furniture shop or something like that, you can find those massive plastic bags, and that will just give it a little bit more protection, and it'll just help it grow a little bit bigger. But just be careful. It's damp, it's rainy, there's going to be slugs out there. I mean, that's the way I grow my bottle gourds. So if you ever see me with my bottle gourds, you'll see that there's plastic bags hanging from the air all the time, and that's what we're doing. We're creating that little microclimate for our bottle gourds. Um, See, if it's about the size of a handspan, it probably what color is it? Is it still green or is it turned orange? Even green ones you can eat. It'll be a green one will have the taste of like a solid courgette, a cross between an avocado. But if it's starting to go orange, it'll ripen off the vine. But if you give it that little bit of protection, where it's going to be a mild week ahead, you might get it over the line. You might just get it over the line. Mark, I'm really glad you're enjoying it. We're here every Friday, so every Friday 8 o'clock we're here, and you'll see the same old names, and people really give a shout out for you. And we start questioning when people aren't here. So like, there's a couple of people that aren't here. Moz isn't here. Graham's not here, and we're missing those guys. Bobby popped in, and I haven't seen a comment from him for a while. But yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, we're on for first names with a lot of people. I spent 7 years in Devon running my heating on pallets, electric chainsaw, and a bit of lecky was all it cost. No, I don't like. Yeah, avocados taste like mud. So Kato family, I'm glad you made it in. Thanks very much. Hope you're keeping well. See, kiwis are surprisingly hardy. We think of New Zealand like a tropical paradise, but they're surprisingly hardy, kiwis. I need a couple of plants. I had a passion flower, and we're growing passion fruit in the garden, and it gave fruit a couple of years, and then the plants just disappeared. I don't know what's happened to it, or if I've pulled it out, or done what I've done with it by mistake. But it was growing on my arch just outside, at the top of the garden. It grew a couple of years, gave fruit, and now the plant it's just vanished. I'm impressed with the number of YouTube names here. YouTube names. So remember to hit that. Absolutely, Margaret. Thanks for giving that shout out. If you haven't hit that like, please hit that like. Thanks very much for coming in. You just started recently. I'm glad you started. Fantastic. There's nothing like your own grown veg. If you can avoid it, try not to go for some of the synthetic fertilizers that a lot of people push. Yeah, you just start on TikTok. It's worth it. Get on it. It's still got a lot of potential for growth on TikTok. I won't be here next week. Might have to turn the phone on when I'm in the. Get on with life. Go out there and get on with your life, man. Don't worry about us. But yeah, we're gonna be back. But my dad has been growing veg for 30 years. He's recently in have you had a chance to learn from him? So doing well just off work and see your life. Where you what you working as? Are you stuck indoors, or do you work outside? Karen, how are you doing? I love the advice you give. I appreciate that. I love you guys being here. Harvesting sweet potatoes. Do you know that's one thing that has never grown well for me? We've grown sweet potatoes. We've grown nice big vines, but we've never got good potatoes. Did we get two last year? I think we might have got two last year. But last year was a freakishly beautiful, perfect summer. It's something that we don't normally get over here. But last year, I think the summer was absolutely perfect. Just gave us everything that we needed. I'm not going to jinx it and say we could have done with a little bit more rain, but yeah. Uh, I'm thinking of how so smashed avocado on toast. What even is that? Do you know, Ned? Imagine if you took your toast and went outside and took a spoonful of mud and spread that on your toast. That's what it'd taste like. Um, okay, I'm with you. There's a good few people, and there's some really nice people here as well. Yeah, there's a good channels, and good people. Yeah, really good people. Um, See, anyone else had problems with peat-free compost containing growth suppressants? Tom, I think it's the quality of peat-free. Peat-free is a great idea. I really like the idea of peat-free, but the quality of the compost is absolutely pathetic. Um, I think they're using a lot of sheep's wool to try and fluff it out, but they're using some kind of fiber to fluff out a lot of the peat-free. It's not just sort of it's not as good as garden compost or leaves that you drop down. Um, Homemade compost, I think you can't. I don't think you can beat it. Um, the peat free has. I think what they do is they rush a lot of the peat free through, or like the council waste recyclers. They take a lot of the green waste and they cook it and they overcook it, so you get this black muck that comes back, and that's been overcooked and it's not as good. That stuff is more likely to contain a lot more pesticides because it's whatever people are throwing into the garden, and a lot of people are still using Roundup and stuff like that. Um, but the commercial peat frees that are coming from manufacturers, I think they're just pushing it through too fast, um, and they're not letting it mature enough. With this type of compost, it has to mature. Um, you can make it fast, but you have to make it right. And I don't think they're doing that. I think they're cheating us. Um, so I'm an electrician, so conditions vary. Um, Smashed avocado with scrambled egg on toast is trendy, and so my kids tell me. TikTok. Exotic's got a little fig plant this year, but it's not happy. Leaves going yellow. Investigating what I didn't know the UK could support fig. I've got so much to learn. See, depends on how far north you are. If you're further south, figs will grow no problem. Um, I've got figs growing outside, and I'm in Leeds. Um, but if you get up to where I am, what you ideally want to do is try and train your fig up against your house wall. So it gets that radiant heat off the house, and that just gives it that much better results. Milwana, I'm glad you made it in. Thanks very much for coming in. Now I'm going to plant this season's garlic. Um, I think if I pick my squash this weekend, I think I'll plant my garlic next weekend. I think I'll wait for this sudden. I'm going to chuck some more cover crops down because we've got an unexpected bit of heat this week, I think. Um, yeah, I'm going to chuck some more cover crops down, I think. Um, See, I know much peat-free contains awful fibre. Rumour is that farmyard manure mixed in, and that's containing growth. See, the thing is with farmyard manure, it's got a lot of pyrides in it. Uh, if it's not from organic sources, um, that's the problem. Yeah, yeah. See, I think they're just going to be grabbing anything they can grab to make it. and that fiber, I think they're using that sheep's wool or something, and they're not rotting it down, because sheep's wool takes a time to break down. It does take a long time to break down. Stallion fish keeping. Thanks very much, man. I'm glad you made it in. Hope everything's good with you. I watched a video about peat production in Canada, and they now grow more peat than they can sell, from what I understand. However, I have no opinion. See, you can make peat, but I don't see why you can't make good quality compost. I don't see why there aren't, why we can't have community compost. Like, I'll tell you what I do. Both my neighbours on both sides, they collect all their leaves. Richard drops off his green bin. He tips it in my garden every week, every couple of weeks. His green bin goes in my garden. My other neighbour, whenever he cuts his beech hedge, all those leaves come to me. My next door neighbour, when she cuts her privet, that all comes to me. In return, I give them back. I give them, obviously, I'll share compost with them. I won't share too much. Compost is mine. But I give them back tomato plants. I give them back squash plants. I introduce them to new, different types of plants. Give them share that. But yeah, I don't see why we can't have community. A lot of old council estates, at the end of the street they have like little green patches. I don't see why we can't have little mini orchards or little composting areas there. And that's one of the things that I was trying to implement in Gipton. That's one of the things that I was standing for when I stood for election last year. Is we want mini composting stations. We want mini orchards and mini gardens where people can just come and eat from. Um, um, yeah, that was one of the things that I wanted to do, man. Um, see, I'm in zone 7A, 7B-ish when to plant onions and garlic. See, if you're planting if you're planting, I think you're close to similar to me. What I'd do is I'm go- we're gonna have a bit of a warm week this week, a warmer week than usual for October. So I'm gonna wait for this warm week to go, and then I'm gonna plant mine. I normally go for about mid-October to plant my garlic, um, and I'll plant most of my onions now into containers, and I'll grow them on in containers before I plant them out and separate them out later on, and they won't go into the garden until next spring. But the garlic will be planted out directly into the final positions outside, probably mid next weekend, the weekend after. Um, I think a couple of weeks before the frost is good enough, just so you get a little head on them just when the frost comes. Um, do you know anyone in the UK whose banana plants produce fruit, or is it impossible? I've seen them produce fruit. Leeds General Hospital, they've got the hospital like a big donut, a square donut, and in the middle they've got this little tropical garden. But they're getting a lot of residual heat from the building, and their bananas have actually produced fruit. So yeah, I think it is possible, but they are benefiting from that residual heat. Um, my mum said one of her friends local has got a banana tree that's fruited. I need to go and see it, but and maybe get a cutting from him. But yeah, so if it's possible in Leeds, I think it's going to be possible. There are varieties that will grow. I don't know how good those bananas will be, but I think there are varieties that will grow. Someone just asked me about my compost tumbler. When I made that, I lost the footage of it, and I never managed to get another blue barrel like that to make another one. Because what happened was my hard drive died on my computer and I lost everything. So I've lost all the footage from my early videos. Um, So sun shows in the wind, loads of flowering now. Does first frost occur the same time of year, and how do I know when to? Just Google frost dates and put in your area, and you'll normally get a Google answer saying your first frosts are second week of October, and your last frosts are typically first week of May or something like that. That's sort of what we are here. But last year, our first frost didn't come until I think November. I don't think this year we're going to get a frost until November. Last year, April was quite cold. This year, April wasn't so bad, but it was really dry. It wasn't freezing, but it wasn't warm. So the thing, you can get a rough guide from those frost guides, early frost dates, last frost dates, and then the next thing is just to keep an eye on the weather when it comes close to that time. You will be, once you get into gardening, you will be checking your forecasts every single day, at least a couple of times a day. uh, Mini ocean, a fabulous idea, much better use of land. I got, Leeds City Council are doing some regeneration work in the city centre, and they're planting loads of trees. And I went to the meeting and I suggested, here, let's plant fruit trees. And the objection that I got from the thing, from everyone was, if you plant fruit trees, people are going to take the fruit and eat it. And I'm like, that's the whole point. You plant the fruit trees for people just to go walk past, pick an apple, walk past, pick a pear. Cherry season, pick some cherries. What's wrong with that? Oh no, you can't have just people getting free food. What's wrong with you people? Um, you're gonna put the garlic in the fridge till you come back. Oops, I've lost a load of comments. Right. 12's what is it? 12's my limit. Just pops in to say hello. I'm a new subscriber. The same philosophy as you when it comes to the nature of growing food. I'm glad you came in, just as even if it was a quick hello. But we're well past 9 o'clock. I think I got into a little bit too much. I was when I came on live today, I thought I was going to keep it short. I don't know. I was thinking, what sort of mood am I going to be in as I get talking? Am I going to be able to switch to gardening, or am I just going to be a depressing git? But you guys have turned up, and it's been it's been nice. So I appreciate you all for that. Thank you very much for coming in and making this a really good, positive stream. I'm gonna call it a night here, and I'm gonna call it a night here and go and catch a little bit of time with the rest of the gang before it's bedtime. So on that note, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and I'll see you next week. Yeah, there we go. And